As I mentioned, I'm not opposed to this amendment. In fact, I would support Mr. Rohrabacher's amendment. I understand the concerns of the chairman, but there is one point that I really want to make clear in this. Throughout this whole process, well over, gosh, I guess it's been 12 years now since we passed this restriction, there has always been this notion that somehow we have to wait in order to be extra cautious, as if there is no risk in waiting. And that is where I think we are completely wrong. Absolutely. There is a risk in selling technology that could wind up in the wrong hands. And in the world we live in today, that's a risk that we have to live with and attempt to manage. But what has never been properly understood in this body, and particularly on the Armed Services Committee, is the risk of excessive restrictions on U.S. companies' ability to export technology, and it is a risk precisely to our national security. It is not just a matter of jobs or business or the economy. This isn't national security versus economic strength. One of our great strengths as a nation in terms of our defense is the superiority of our technology companies. We have companies here in the U.S. that we can rely on to give us the best equipment, the best technology to protect us. But as Mr. Rohrabacher pointed out, we are losing that edge. We are ceasing to be the leaders in critical areas of technology, and nowhere is this more painfully clear than in the area of satellites. We have lost over 40% market share during that period to our competitors. When I was in Europe visiting some satellite companies 2 years ago, I came across an advertisement, something that was being put out in the trade papers by a European satellite company for an ITAR-free satellite. Well, what is an ITAR satellite? It's a satellite that has not one single U.S. component in it. Why? Because if it was ITAR-free, they could much more freely export it and much easier be competitive in selling that satellite technology. We were blocking out all U.S. companies from anything that goes into a satellite. And trust me, I've seen satellites. There's a heck of a lot that goes into them. Our companies are being severely disadvantaged, and that is undermining our ability to get access to those companies to build the technologies we need to defend ourselves. Inaction is not the safe and correct course here. We have the evidence we need. I believe we need to go forward. And Mr. Rohrabacher's amendment makes sure that we're not selling this to China and other places that we don't want to, but it does free up our companies to begin to compete before it's too late, before we lose that edge. Now, we've got the interim report. We don't have the final report. We've analyzed this thing for a long period of time. I personally don't think we need to wait for the final report, but I will be optimistic that we'll get that final report between now and when we go to conference, and we'll get something done on this critical issue, critical not just for U.S. companies, though certainly jobs and economic strength is a matter of national security, but also critical for national security itself, to make sure that U.S. companies can maintain a leadership role to help provide for our defense, to help work with our Defense Department as they do. So I would hope that we would adopt this.
Would the gentleman yield?
But I hope we continue to work on this issue. I yield the balance of my time to Mr. Rohrabacher.